If wishes were horses, my mom used to say, if wishes were horses, all beggars would ride. Never really understood that when I was young. But basically, she's saying, cut down your wish list. Usually trotted it out there around Christmas time. Cut down your wish list. Maybe the Rangers need to do that. Let's talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, so, Chris Young always says you can never have enough pitching, and he's right. We get it. That's true. But in a budget year, when you have a lot of other needs, maybe you don't go looking for a starting pitcher from outside the organization when you've got a pretty good solution right there in the organization. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It seems like it's been a minute since we've been here. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan. Jeff Wilson back from Orlando. Actually, he was back on terra firma in North Texas yesterday, but not here in studio. And we've got Kat over here taking care of all the business and keeping us out of trouble as much as she can with the bosses out of Denver. Apparently, we were 2 seconds over on a commercial or under. I don't know. One of them. I'm not too worried about it.
We usually hit the over.
Yeah, we hit the over. So Jacob Latz seems like a pretty obvious place to start. I get it. And look, everybody would love to have some great free agent pitcher in here. And, of course, Chris Young knows better than anyone else that they're not spending a lot of money on a free agent pitcher anyway because there's not a lot to spend this season. So why not just say at this point, you know what? Because they basically, if and maybe it changed a little over the week when you were gone, Jeff, with them, but basically they still say, we're not sure what we're going to do with Jake, right? Why not just say, you know what, we're going to groom him to be a starter. He needs to be in our rotation this year.
Well, he is being stretched out as a starter. This offseason, he is training to be in the rotation.
Okay.
And he may end up there. But I think our question is, why the mystery?
Right.
Let's let this man do it. If you're trying to save money, let him start the season in the rotation, and then see how it unfolds. Cody Bradford's going to get healthy at some point. Do you want Cody Bradford to start or be a reliever? I would say starter because he's coming off an injury. You don't need the unpredictability of when you're going to pitch and when you're not going to pitch, and you have to get ready soon, quickly and rush anything, risk anything. So start the season with Latz. Start him as your number 5. You still need to go get a starter, and I don't know what price range they're shopping in, but I still think there's some. I do think there's some wiggle room in that budget if Ray Davis can catch him on a good day,
Right.
And so and then what is that up to $20 million? What does that look like? Keep in mind future rotations and things like that. And then Kumar Rocker's kind of a wild card here. What's
right?
He can't.
Where's he going to be? Yeah.
It would again be malpractice if the Rangers let him open the season in the rotation. This guy, was basically taken out of competition for a month, a little bit longer even, to work on his mechanics, and he pitched 1 2/3 innings. He had one start with the new mechanics. So you gotta go and let him work it out in the minors. No need to rush him. So maybe he's ready in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, and if he is what the Rangers think he's going to be, you get a great starter out of there. All About Sports Zone payroll could be as low as $100 million. I do not believe that at all. $180 million. Yeah. I do not believe that one bit. I don't know where that came from. John and I were talking about it earlier. Evan did not say that.
Nope.
So anyway, I think it's going to be around 210, 200 to 210.
Yeah, I'd say 290 or 195 to the 210 range. They might go a little bit below 200, might be a little bit above 200, but I think they're going to be right there in that range, which is still a 20% reduction, right? A little, right around there, a little more, but anyway, I think that's a legitimate thought to think that's about where the thing is going to be, and who that's plenty. That's what we were saying upstairs, Jeff. Yeah. That's plenty. If you're at 195 million, even, you ought to be able to build a roster that can compete for the playoffs. Because look, there were plenty last year, way lower than that made the playoffs. So
right. And again, if you look at the Sport Track number, they're at 144 million, and I believe that includes the arbitration folks. So if it's on the low end, you have $51 million to put the rest of this roster together. You figure 10 to 15 on the bullpen, so that knocks you down to 36 at the high end. So what are you going to do with that? You need a right-handed hitting outfielder. All right, that's going to cost you 3 to 5. You still need the catcher. So, that's
who knows?
That's TBA.
Yes, that could be a bigger expense, but it could, if they make a trade.
Yeah,
and it's a controllable guy, it won't be a big expense.
And then and so then it's the starting pitcher. And if you're gonna try to build the bullpen like you always do, then go ahead and spend a little. And again, tell Ray Davis, this is our guy. This is the guy that's gonna help us replicate our pitching from last year. We're gonna have a dominant rotation. I would think that Ray would be amenable to that.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, back to Latz. Yeah, Jake Latz should be in the rotation. He was a really, really good starting pitcher for the Rangers.
Yeah.
If he ends up in the bullpen, Ross Fenstermaker said the other day, he will end up in a leverage situation, which is fine. He's left-handed, throws hard, has stuff. But your best pitchers should be starting pitchers. And if Jake Latz is one of your 5 best pitchers, when all of this is said and done, then he needs to be in the rotation.
Right.
And you can backfill the bullpen however you'd like. You got to sign some veteran guys, some free agents. There's no question about that. And then you're going to have Robert Garcia, who had a good year. I know he had some difficulties there that stand out because he's the closer and that happens to closers, but he had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
Jake Latz, he's again, could go either way, but let's keep him in the rotation. Then you have Cole Winn, who's going to be in there. You have Luis Curvello, who was fine.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And then there are the young starting pitchers in the minors. Teodo is not going to this offseason, he's preparing to be a reliever for big league camp. If he doesn't make the team, then they can stretch him out and he can become a starter in the minors. But don't discount him, even though he didn't pitch a lot last year. All right. Everybody loved what he did in spring training. Then you've got the Baumler kid, who they just got the Rule 5 guy. You gotta at least go into spring training thinking
he's on the roster.
This guy's on the roster.
Yeah.
So at minimum, you have 3 guys done. You can probably find a 4th internally, and then you got to sign 4 relievers. So that's the way I'm going to go. And you're going to sign a bunch of NRI, guys to non-roster deals, and hope that
lightning
maybe
in a bottle and all
one of them hits, maybe,
yeah.
Or they go to AAA and they're ready when you need an arm. But the point is, Jake Latz and I have been high on the Jake Latz fan club. Jake needs to be a starter.
Yeah, and I just don't understand, and we even see it in the chat. He's a swing man at best, and but can he last more than 150 innings? And I don't understand the uncertainty about him. Right? Yeah. He's given us no indication that he's anything but. Now, maybe the Rangers have something, because I think the uncertainty is born of their uncertainty, right? It seems like you just say, dude did great, especially at the end of the year. He was pitching great. Dude did great last year as a starter. We're going to have him be a part of our, or at least battle for a spot in the starting rotation next year.
Well, and that was something that Ross said, the 150 inning starter. Jacob Latz was routinely getting to the sixth and the seventh with a pretty reasonable pitch count, and he can build into that. If you're not at all confident in his ability to do that, this guy has started before in the minors. It's been a few years, yes. But he can work multiple innings. He built up really quickly during this last season, and the guy is in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
He is in good shape. So I don't have a ton of concern there. And if you have concern, then treat him like Jacob deGrom last year.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. And now that Mike Maddox isn't the pitching coach, I wonder if they will use the off days differently, if they can mix up the rotation, especially if they don't feel great about their starting five. But fact of the matter is, they should feel really good about three of them. They should feel good about Jake Latz. They should feel good that Cody Bradford's going to come back. And I think that you sign a starter. If you could get, let's say, you could get Zach Gallen for 3 years and $60 million. That's a hell of a deal.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
And if you want, if Merrill Kelly is there for, I don't know, 2 and 36.
Yeah, I was going to say you can get him for 2 years for sure.
Then do it. Now I do. You didn't, and then you can take your time a little bit too with Kumar Rocker and Caden Scarborough, who's way down there in A-ball, and Santos and Corniel, who made his MLB debut in the season finale this year. So, I mean, there are options then at that point. But these guys that are on the 40, like Santos and Corniel, they got to be ready to pitch because you need a spot starter. Guy goes on the IL for 15 days. Yeah, he may only miss 2 starts, but you need somebody decent to do that.
Yeah, and I think Rarity's just asked that, are the Rangers just going to use these higher ranked or, higher level, minor league guys to fill out the bullpen? No, they're not. I mean, they're going to sign guys who have at least most of them will. Obviously not Baumler, but most of them will have major league experience in a bullpen from some other team, these guys that they sign.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. Robert Garcia is still a young pitcher. He's been in the majors for a few years now, but he's still young. You want these veteran guys who, if a young guy wants to be in the bullpen, he has to raise his level to that of the veterans and at least pitch as well as them. And then, maybe they knock somebody else he's competing with who has options down to the minors. I really just think that they've got to sign 4 relievers.
Right.
They've got to get 4, maybe a 5th, or the non-roster invite guys, and hope one of them, like you said, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, and counting getting Garcia in the trade last year, how many bullpen arms did they actually acquire in the offseason?
Including Garcia, they got 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it was, let's see, I don't know the order of them, but
Armstrong,
Jacob Webb, Armstrong, Milner, that's 3, Martin 4,
Garcia,
and then Luke Jackson. Was
right.
the 6th. And then, they went and got 2 more at the trade deadline.
Right.
And you got Coulomb and Maton, and I know Hobie Milner's off to the Cubs, but if the Rangers are sincere and want these guys back, I would definitely take Danny Coulomb back. He had a better year.
Yeah.
He had a better year than Milner.
Yeah.
And I see everybody who's on the Sean Armstrong train. I am with you.
We are too. Yeah.
I wish that he could re-sign, but if he thinks he had as good a season as Phil Maton last year, and numbers kind of say that he did, he's probably going to want Phil Maton money.
Yeah.
And he's not getting any younger. And
No.
that's the thing with these relievers. Once they get a little bit older, if somebody throws 2 years at them,
2 years and $14.5 million.
they are gonna jump at that, no matter how badly they want to be back where they were.
Yeah, 100%. More coming up. We're going to address a question that hit very early in the show about the Semien-Seager relationship. We'll dive into that a little bit, as well as a couple of topics that I was sparked to bring up by our buddy and colleague, our teammate, Mike Bassick. It's all coming up next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
This episode is brought to you by our friends, and they are friends,
Big
at
time.
Wild Fork Foods. If you haven't been, I don't know what you're waiting for. There are 9 locations. This weekend, Saturday, noon to 2, at the Louisville location, our Mavs crew, and then Clarence from the Cowboys crew, because he likes free meat samples, will be there to talk Wild Fork, to talk Cowboys, to talk Mavs, and to have a great time with you diehards, or just you guys who aren't diehards and just like listening to our shows. Let me tell you about Wild Fork. The people there who work there are fantastic. They're brilliant. They can tell you anything about any cut of meat, how to thaw it, why frozen is fresher, why they have such a lower cost than anybody else, any of the major butchers at the grocery stores. Wild Fork is going to beat your price. 250 kinds of meat, which is crazy. And John, I haven't tried all 250, but we're going to soon. So go to wildforksfood.com for more information.
Have you ever wanted to be a Major League Baseball player? Who hasn't? You ever wanted to see your name on the back of a Major League jersey? Share the dugout with all-time greats? Well, we've got just that opportunity for you. Good news. Texas Rangers are having a fantasy camp January 7th through the 11th. It's a 5-day experience in Surprise, Arizona at the Rangers Spring Training Complex, and you do not want to miss this opportunity. It's 5 unforgettable days with a bunch of former big league players, including a couple of Hall of Famers. Pudge Rodriguez will be there. Fergie Jenkins will be there. Mark McLemore will. Steve Buechele will. So many other names and so many other guys that you can literally rub elbows with and play with and against. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you don't want to miss. The spots are limited, so go to rangersfantasycamp.com. It sounds like a great time after the holidays in January. It'd be a great Christmas gift for somebody as well. Okay, so right at the beginning, someone asked about the Seager-Semien relationship and wondered if John Heyman was just stirring things up. I did not see what Heyman wrote. Did you, Jeff?
I think he said it on a podcast.
Okay.
But I didn't listen to it.
No.
John, if you've paid attention, John and I have made various hints at it.
And there have been a few times when we have hinted or even said it. And in our chat, you've said, "What are you talking about?" It's been there. It's been an underlying thing for the entire time they've been together. It may have come to a bit more of a head this year. And it's not something we necessarily report on. That's not personal relationships aren't necessarily our business. We're not telling you if, Josh Young, likes Evan Carter or whatever, right? I mean, that's not something, but then it became a thing because it appeared from some of the people that we talked to who know that maybe it was having an effect on the clubhouse chemistry. And someone answered, that's a little bit what Kevin Pillar was talking about. And I believe that's probably a sum of it, although he wasn't around much, and we're not around much either, right?
Yeah. I still have it. I mean, maybe the talk started with Kevin Pillar, but it didn't. Kevin Pillar has been around teams and everything, so he has a sense. He wasn't around this team long enough. He came in. We talk about how long the offseason goes. He came in after camp started. Right. He didn't get a chance to, and he was hurt and all this stuff. All right. But, Corey Seager is unique.
Right.
The way he goes about things, his preparation every day, he's rarely in the clubhouse. And I know that initially that rubbed some guys the wrong way. It definitely did. And I also know that, there's leadership, but then there's like being the face of the team.
Right.
And Corey can be hard to track down at times when you need insight from a veteran guy. So a lot of times that would fall to Marcus. If that was the crux of it, fine. They were double play partners and pretty good ones.
They were.
So it didn't appear to affect the on-field stuff.
Nope.
I don't think that, Marcus was going to the plate and popping out or rolling over, with Corey Seager on his mind. I really don't. Now, if one thing though that was said, and that Skip Schumacher wants to do was he wants to develop a winning clubhouse chemistry, whatever his idea of that is. He was around enough. He wasn't in the clubhouse, but he was around enough to hear whatever was going on. And, it's probably more than two people. But because they were your two stars, your two highest paid position players, then there might have been conflict. Was it as bad as people are now jumping to the conclusion?
No, it was never an outward.
Were they fighting in the clubhouse?
Something like they were coming to blows or anything.
But were they having family get-togethers? I don't think so.
No.
But is the trade of Marcus part of that? The Rangers have said no, that the offseason, not the offseason, but the late season comment where he said, I want to play with guys who want to win. Corey Seager wants to win.
There is no doubt.
Okay. So, and the Rangers asked Marcus about that for clarification. He said, no way. I was not trying to insult anybody in there. So, is there something? Yeah. Is John Heyman stirring stuff up? Yeah, because John Heyman doesn't have to go into the clubhouse every day.
Right.
You can say that from New York or Florida, wherever he's saying it from. But he's not incorrect completely. There was some conflict there, but to what level? I don't think we're entirely sure. And until somebody goes on the record, that's not something I think you can pot shot at with anonymous sources. Until somebody goes on the record, it's just going to stay where it is.
Yeah, it is. And I believe the Rangers that it didn't have anything to do, like Marcus Semien isn't gone because of this conflict or whatever we would call it. I'm not even sure we'd call it a conflict. But this relationship, let's put it that way. That's not why Marcus Semien is gone. There's a lot of other reasons. Most of them have to do with the way his offensive numbers have been dipping, and the Rangers feel, they just feel like here's an opportunity to, replenish a position of need, right field, and maybe get a guy who is on the downside of his career out at the same time, right? And boom, you accomplish two tasks with one bold blockbuster move.
And you save a little money.
Well, not over the
course
long
of the
term,
contract,
because there's a couple
for this year, yes.
Yeah, this year, a decent amount of money, actually. So anyway, that answers that. And there's something to it, but it's not like this, horrible, they hate each other kind of thing by any means.
Nobody was in there. Neither Corey nor Marcus went in there and said, it's either him or me.
No, none of that. None of that. Nope. All right. So here is the reality, though. So because of the trade of Marcus Semien, we've pretty much all concluded, and the Rangers have kind of told us it's his job to win or, to lose in a way, Josh Smith. But Josh Smith's your second baseman.
Yeah.
So over the course of the last 3 years, Jeff, 23, 24, and 25, there have been 100-ish games lost to injury or, in some cases, being sent down or whatever.
Yeah.
100 games each year lost to on the left side of the infield, right? So you had 97 games in 2023. Of course, 2024, Josh Young got hurt right away.
Yeah.
So you literally had 161 games in 2024 where, you had to replace somebody on the left side of the infield. And then last year it was 91. So 97, 161, 91. It's 100 or 100 plus. It averages more than 100 per year. And Josh Smith has probably taken, the bulk of those games. So who takes them now? That's the question. I personally, and I remember that Marcus Semien, the first year here in 22, he would pop over to shortstop when Corey was out.
Right.
And for whatever reason that Corey was out. And when it got to 23, he said, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to be the second baseman. And I would hope that the Rangers will let Josh Smith do the same thing, and or maybe that he has enough cachet to, if I'm the second baseman, I want to be the second baseman, right? But you got to figure history dictates that there's going to be a need for 100 games for someone to fill in over on the left side of the infield.
Well, and I think that's why Ezekiel Duran was tendered a contract, after his not so great year last year. And why Jonah Bride was signed to a minor league deal.
Mm-hmm.
And while
Tyler
Wade, I thought he was more of an outfielder, but whatever.
Okay.
But anyway, that's why they're talking about Sam Haggerty at second and Michael Hellman, who can play shortstop and second base, even though he was just an outfielder for the Rangers. So they have options. They're trying to figure that out too, because I think and the conversation we had the other day with Skip Schumacher at breakfast was kind of like, and even during his little press conference was like, would playing one position be a load off Josh Smith? Would that help Josh Smith?
I would think so.
And the thought is, yeah, probably. Yeah. So, great. Give it a shot, he'll get days off probably against some left-handers. Now, who gets those at-bats? Well, Cody Freeman. Cody Freeman, all right. Do you trust Cody Freeman at shortstop if Corey Seager needs 2 days off? Probably.
Yeah.
If he needs 2 weeks off, I don't know about that.
Stretching.
Unless he works on it really, really hard and gets better. Because he was, they were all high school shortstops, right?
Well, of course.
They all played shortstop in high school.
Yeah.
Or do you want Cody Freeman to be, do you want it to be a platoon? Josh, not be an everyday player, face only right-handers, and then Cody face all left-handers. I don't know if I want to put a young player like Cody Freeman into a platoon. What about Zeke? We've all seen Duran. He needs the at bats.
He does.
And the chat's talking about he's doing great in winter ball, and he is because he's playing every day.
Yeah,
and it's not great pitching, but he's playing every day. And when you play every day, I genuinely believe that when a guy plays every day in the major leagues, he's going to be fine.
Yes. Now that's an interesting thought on him, because when he did play every day in 2023, when Corey got hurt at the beginning of that year.
Yeah.
It was basically going to be either him or Josh Smith, right? And he grabbed the reins and became the guy, right, for the first half of that season.
Yeah.
And by the end of 23, we were wondering, man, does Josh Smith even have much of a future here? And then in 24, Josh got his opportunity at third, and he grabbed the bull by the horns, man, and he took off. And he hasn't let go since. So basically, since that time at the beginning of 23, Ezekiel Duran has not had that opportunity to play every day.
Yeah, and it's kind of the reverse, because in 23, Josh Smith got the first shot, and it wasn't great.
Right.
Excuse me. And then they put in
Duran.
Duran was great.
Yeah.
24, Duran gets the first crack at third, and it doesn't go great. And then Josh Smith kind of seized it. And that's it, man. When you have the opportunity. And really, Josh Young was hurt in 23. August, broke his thumb, and then they put in Duran back. Put him back in. So this would have been, a couple months later, and he wasn't as good because he had been sitting and he hadn't been getting regular at bats. So it's
or is it that the league figured him out. Right,
There's that too.
I mean, they had 2 months of a book on him. So was it that they adjusted to him and he hasn't been able to make the adjustments back? You're right. The pitching isn't as good, obviously, in winter ball, but I like that he's maintained that. I mean, somebody said he's over 900. He's been over 900 for the entire duration of winter ball thus far.
Yeah, and good.
Yeah.
Look, it may be to the point where he's kind of knows where he's at and he's auditioning for other teams because
sure.
Maybe somebody will say, hey, this guy had a hell of a winter, let's go get him.
Yeah.
And again, the Rangers need stuff. So and if he's like, maybe he's part of a bigger package for something,
sure.
Like, hey, what do you guys think? You look a little thin on the infield. What do you think about this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's having a hell of a winter.
Yeah.
Low cost guy. Sure.
Yeah.
So there's just, but I agree with you. I don't necessarily like having my starting second baseman be my backup shortstop.
Be my utility guy. No,
Yeah.
I don't like that. So, we'll see how all that plays out. But I think you have to kind of plan that there's going to be a need on the left side of the infield. So, that's and I think they are, and that's why they are bringing in some of these guys who could potentially help fill that need. More coming up as we take a look at Baseball America's rankings of the Rangers' top prospects. A little movement at the top. We'll talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it has dropped. It has officially, it's out. Yeah, it's out there. It's officially been published. The behind-the-scenes look at what Jeff was doing at the winter meetings, and it's the skipper. And some of you, you've heard us talk about him, but you may not have seen him. Man, he is all over this thing, guys. You got to check it out. See how this, critique the skipper's work. Let us know what you think. And, I think you'll like it. It's lengthy, but it gives you a really cool look at what was going on at the winter meetings. And you'll get a chance to see exactly how things were going on down there. And so anyway, become a supporter and get videos like that. There's going to be one every week from here from one of our groups. And so the skipper took a load off our plate this week.
Yeah, that was nice that I didn't have to do that.
Together. Yeah, by putting that together. And anyway, each of the crews does one each and every week. There's one of them, and it's only $15 or $5 to become a member of the Supporters Club and get that and so much more.
Yeah, and you get a lot in our newsletter that Ali does. It's fantastic, and unlike the Supporters Club, which is only a small fee.
Sure, it's pretty cheap. Yep.
This newsletter, it's free. You
Yep.
go to alldls.com. You go to the very bottom of the homepage, and there's called a banner ad or something. Sign up for the newsletter. Blank spot for your email address. You hit the submit button. Boom, you're on the list. Okay. I think that it's a service really that Ali does.
It is
for our readers, whether you're a diehard or not. I think if you read the newsletter and you're going to see every day something. Dang, I'd like to read that story.
I need to see the whole story.
And diehards can click on the link. And if you're not a diehard, you're going to need to be a diehard to read these stories. And you're going to want to do it, thanks to Ali and his great work. So there you go.
Newsletter.
Become a member.
We'll tell you how to
We'll
tell you how to become a diehard later if you don't know. I think you do. And thank you, Rarities, who's already begun the behind-the-scenes video before today's podcast. He says, great video so far. So, yes, we think so too, and we appreciate the skipper's hard work on that deal.
Yeah, let's bunt.
Yeah, everybody bunts.
My son can't bunt, and it pisses me off, boy.
Really?
Yeah. So I was in there before one of his hitting lessons the other day, just throwing him balls to bunt.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I can bunt left-handed. I said, you have to bunt right-handed.
Yeah, you're a
right-handed hitter.
What are you going to do? Jump around the other side of the plate and bunt?
I said, I couldn't do a lot on the baseball field, like exceptionally well. I was good at a lot of things, but I could bunt.
Yeah, me too.
I was an exceptional bunter.
Me too. And again,
that's not a great baseball claim to fame. I
it's not.
I was a pretty good defensive catcher too.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's I was
wouldn't have
Austin Hedges.
I would not have pegged you as a catcher.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good. I could bunt too. But again, I mean, it's not like I was ever taking any real heat, but I could drop that ball so softly, kind of right there between the pitcher and the catcher, where neither one of them could get it. But offensively too, like you, that's about all I had. So anyway, let's talk about these prospects in the Rangers organization. Not surprising. Sebastian Walcott, Jeff, is the number 1 ranked prospect according to Baseball America in the Rangers organization. As their main list out, are they going to do another one? He was 6.
Just their top 10 for now. They're doing the team.
Okay, and so it's the current one that has him at 6th in all of Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Okay, so he's not going to move up there.
Yeah. Look, he's great. Okay, and if you read what their short little thumbnail on him, like they're saying he's 19 and only average risk. I mean, that's a pretty glowing forecast right there. 70 power, 70 arm. They talked about the improvements he made. He had a great season. I know you look at the overall numbers, you're like, 19, a very good season in that league. And, they said he's got to get better. He doesn't hit the ball the other way, right? He needs to work on that. But the things to be encouraged about for a teenager was that he laid off pitches that he couldn't hit hard. And when he got a pitch that he could hit hard, he usually hit it pretty hard. And so that's really encouraging. He's big. He can play third. He made some errors, they said, mostly on short hops and throwing errors. Rangers fan Alex asks about the arm. We asked about it just the other day at the winter meetings, and the Rangers said he's fine. He was fine. Basically, as soon as they scratched him from the AFL eventually, and before he left Arizona, they weren't concerned at all.
Did he even get any games in?
He played like 1 game.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. He was on the podcast I do with John Moore, the weekly show, and the next day came the news. So he hadn't let on that his arm was bugging him, but that's fine.
Okay. That sounds like almost more of a team inspired shutdown. You know what? Yeah. You've had a long season. And
he did have a long season. Yeah. Very long. He played. He posted. He went wire to wire, man. Yeah. And reps are what you need, and that's very, very good. So who was 2? Caden Scarborough was 2.
Caden Scarborough, whose arrow is pointed up, right? I mean, he's climbing the ranks. Right?
Yes. I mean, he'll probably reach AA in 26. Gavin Feen, the number 1, or not the number 1 overall pick, the Rangers' first round pick. Then Owens, who was the 2-way player. What was he?
Right.
3rd round? Second, 3rd round.
And so he's a shortstop and a right-handed pitcher.
The first 4 guys, by the way, have been guests on our weekly show that John Moore and I do.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's going to happen with Mr. Owens? I think entering the draft, it was like, oh, he's going to be a position player. But I think after his first little showing there at low A, I think that a lot of people think he can be more of a pitcher than a hitter or a position player. He throws it's not over the top. It's kind of 3/4, pretty good fastball, good sink on it. Not a bad slider for a kid right out of high school. And again, like the neighboring city to Evan Carter. And if you go back and watch that episode, it's like, man, this is Evan Carter 2.0 personality-wise.
Yeah.
Talked a little more than Evan does.
Okay.
But, shucks and geez. And, his favorite restaurant's like a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
And just, I'm going to go home and crush that stuff. Just
a
funny kid.
Yeah.
So, and again, the makeup component is such a big part of the Rangers scouting decision. Sure. Corniel was 5th. Why don't you finish off the list there if you got it?
Yeah, I got the top 10, the rest of the top 10 right here.
Oh, I've got it. No.
You got it too? I got it right here. So 6 is A.J. Russell.
Oh,
who is he an A-ball, but he throws, he
can get it up to 98. He was coming off of Tommy John. He had to have Tommy John at some point. So this season for Tennessee, he didn't pitch a lot.
Right.
But his 23 season, the Rangers were like, if he had been draft eligible that year, they think he would have been a top 15 pick.
Okay.
Keep going.
David Davalillo is
Davalillo, who just added to the 40 man.
Yeah, he's on the 40 man now. So that shows you what they think of him, right? And that they were that concerned about him possibly being selected in that Rule 5 draft. Devin Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Which is a hyphenated name, by the way. Fitzgerald can be a name, but this is a hyphenated name.
He dominated Arizona and got a pretty quick call up to low A, and then he hurt his shoulder diving for a ball. And if he played again, I wasn't aware of it. They didn't think it was anything serious. So yeah, but he had a heck of a year, a heck of a start to the season in Arizona.
Okay. And then Winston Santos, the aforementioned Santos, is at number 9 now. And so his stock has fallen some, right? Was he not higher than that last year?
Yeah. He didn't get to pitch a lot last year. Yeah.
And then Castillo is
Yolfran
Castillo. That name doesn't ring that many bells with me. Remind me about Yolfran's body
He's been in the
work.
system a couple years, international class of 24, I believe. He is like high contact guy, high on base guy. Still, they need the power needs to develop. That's it. He's a shortstop, and so I think that they think he's gonna grow into the power because he hits the ball hard. It's just he doesn't hit it in the air a ton. Why is ALLCITY not in the top 10? Well, I don't know. I didn't do the list.
Yeah.
I do some work for Baseball America, and I think in 20 or 21 I did do the preseason top 30 list that goes into their handbook. It was quite a task, man.
I bet
it was a chore.
Because I'm sure they have criteria, right, that you're supposed to follow and so forth. Yeah. Which is why, to answer the question on ALLCITY, I mean, they're trying to apply as a sort of objective criteria as they can to each of these players.
Yeah.
And trying to come up with their list.
Yeah. So. ALLCITY was a nice player there. And, they've kind of changed the rules regarding the Dominican guys. So if you're in the Dominican Summer League and you go to the United States, you're now limited with how much contact or how much you can work out at the Dominican facility.
Okay.
And so a lot of those guys who ordinarily would have come over, it didn't happen. Now, I'll say this, some of the guys who are not in the top 10, ALLCITY, okay. But when we're talking international guys, Paulino Santana, Anthony Gutierrez, and of course, our good friend who is Hispanic, but not, he's born in the United States. Alejandro Rosario, who's got the elbow situation.
issue.
So anyway, they had been top teners at some point and have fallen out.
Yep. So yeah, it's an ever moving process, and but it's nice to know because again, the Rangers they're not. You can't say they're top heavy, right, with prospects right now, other than Sebastian Walcott, who is top 10. But then the other guys aren't. They're not going to crack the top 100. I don't think.
No, Sebastian, and then that'll
be it. Yeah. So and that's why right now the Rangers farm system, again, according to I think Baseball America and maybe MLB, is 26th, right, out of 30 teams.
Yeah, and the timing of that, the top 100 should come, but I can't say that for sure, but it should come after the January signing period. Okay. So, the Rangers are going to get another bunch of guys in there.
International guys. Yeah.
Who they feel pretty good about those cats. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder at that point. And gosh, we really need to get the skipper to let us go down there to the Dominican again. really, it's changed just since the last time I was there. I mean, it was 12 years ago, or at least I know more about it. But you're talking about 12 and 13-year-olds signing, reaching agreements.
You were there more recently. You were there when the new place opened,
but we didn't
doing work.
Go out and do anything.
Work. Yeah.
They had some workouts in conjunction with the winter meetings because it's a dead period right now, and so you can't talk to your minor leaguers. But they held showcases. A lot of kids came up from the Caribbean and did showcases.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
and like you say, 13, 14, maybe even some
teams are out there
scouting. It's mixed in there.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing, and you can sign guys out forever. I've heard that, for instance, that one club, I don't want to name them because it's like they're way over budget on guys, and eventually they're just gonna have to start cutting them. And then when you're signing like a 12 and a 13-year-old, it's like, have they been through puberty yet?
Right.
What's going to happen after that?
Right.
And, it's just crazy stuff.
It is. It's an amazing process, and it would be one that would be fun to go take a look at again. We'll work on the skipper for that one. We've got more coming up. In fact, you're wondering, even as you sit there, I bet, what's Adolis Garcia been up to? I'm glad you asked that. We'll tell you next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And we told you also that we would tell you how to become a diehard, although I think all of you know. I think most of you are. But if you're not, scan that QR code, won't you, and become a diehard today. Jeff mentioned all the different content that is available. It's teased in the newsletter, but you get the full Megillah in the writing that is behind the paywall on each of our beats. And by the way, our website is just really it's a beautiful thing. And so you need to go to alldlls.com and check it out and check every one of the beats. I know you're a fan of all the teams, so go check each and every one of them out. We've got full-time writers on each and every beat, which I don't think any other organization outlet in DFW can say that.
No, that's true.
But we can, and we do, and we will. So become a diehard today. Scan the QR code or go to alldlls.com/join.
Yeah, and you get a free T-shirt with that sweet diehard membership and 20% off of whatever you want at store.allcitynetwork.com. That's where all of our merch is housed, including the new hats. There's 4 of them, and it turns out that the 2 on the ends are branded Bills hats.
Oh, okay.
The 2 in the middle are not branded Bills hats. I bought 3 of them. I guess I just kind of overlooked the Stars one, so I'm probably going to have to go get that one too. Hopefully they're at the house soon. I'm ready to start wearing them.
I bet you are too.
Yeah. I keep buying myself these Christmas presents. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And then I got this new phone, and you gotta change out I had to change out the plug-in thingies, the chargers, charger cords, because now it's now Type C.
Oh,
yeah. So I just
beating.
So I just had to get a new cube and some new cords for my car and for the bedroom and for work. And good Lord,
I'm gonna keep this one forever. Then
I don't think the kids watch the show, so we're gonna need them for their Christmas presents as well.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
But anyways, you can't get those at store.allcitynetwork.com, but you can get some sweet DLLS merch.
You can indeed. So we really haven't heard much about Adolis, and out of sight, out of mind. But he's in Florida, and he has often spent a lot of off-season time in Tampa, and there he is, just rocketing balls in Tampa, working out down there, working on his body, his conditioning, and working with the same coach that he had in 23. So we know that he changed coaches for prior to the 25 season, Jeff.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just you try to. I don't blame him. You're trying to recapture some of that glory that you had in 23, and maybe getting back with that coach is something that'll allow that to happen. And I think that's why that coach is in Tampa, and that's why he was there. Of course, Rosarena was in Tampa too. Then I don't know if he's making.
Adolis has always had a house in Tampa.
He has, okay.
And last offseason, he spent it here working with Bobby Witt's hitting coach. It didn't work out.
No.
And you know, he was non-tendered, and you know, when we were talking to AJ Przinsky the other day, he's like, yeah, maybe they need a right fielder. Maybe they go ahead and re-sign Adolis. I'd never even considered that.
No.
And I thought that looking at the swing there, as Mason said, his hands are different, and maybe the swing looks a little faster, but it also didn't look like the bat was in the zone very long. And his issue, Adolis' issue, was that his swing was too long, so it was too slow, and beyond that, he chases too much.
Right.
He's always been great in batting practice.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
you could roll video from last year and be like, oh man, look at that BP. He's looking great.
Yeah.
But look, man, he's been non-tendered. Sure, he could come back if it comes to that, I guess. But I think that the swing and the miss, you're not. And again, you just look at the career numbers. 23 was the outlier. He'd had this hitting coach before, and he was still a 250 hitter. Still chased, still didn't have the great on base. All right, he hit 38 home runs that year, but I tell you what, I think that time will tell. I hope wherever he goes, he's fantastic.
I do too.
I love the guy.
I do too.
It just wasn't working here.
Super nice guy. It just wasn't working, and you can't. Again, it's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Right.
And the results had been the same 2 years in a row. At some point, you have to make those difficult decisions, which Chris Young and Ross Fenstermaker did do by non-tendering Adolis Garcia. The Mexico City game has been, announced for this year. It's going to be the Diamondbacks and the Padres on April 25th and 26th. And I wanted to put it in for the reason that I get to say the stadium, Jeff, where they're going to play Estadio Harp Helú Baseball.
Oh, okay.
I love the way they say baseball. Baseball. It's BEISBOL, baseball.
Yeah, April. It seems like it's earlier than they've normally.
It does to me too. I think
it.
It's usually June.
And then Mexico City's at 7,000 feet.
Yeah, it is.
The ball. That's higher. That's a lot higher than Denver.
Significantly higher.
That ball is going to fly. I wonder if doing it in April, maybe it's cooler, and so maybe the ball doesn't soar as much. But you're going to be a lot of big numbers, not ERA friendly to those pitching staffs.
No, I think you're right. Now, it's only a 2-game series, so that's probably a good thing for the pitchers and maybe not so much for the hitters. But it's cool. I mean, it's we see it in the NFL every year too, and the NBA's trying to do more and more of it. But they they're trying to expand the reach of Major League Baseball and continue to make it an international game. And certainly, it's always been popular in the Latin American countries. It's very popular in Japan. So, cool. They're going to go down there and play baseball again. Mark Shapiro, the CEO and president of the Toronto Blue Jays, Jeff, gets a 5-year extension from the people at Rogers. And why not? But it is pretty ironic when you think about, I don't know if he was necessarily on the hot seat, but how hot the seats were for leadership in the Blue Jays organization at the beginning of the year, and now, of course, lauding them, rewarding them.
And Shapiro was a very successful with Cleveland.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a guy. He didn't just luck into something.
No,
he knows what he's doing.
Not like he was good at hockey and then switched over or something.
And now that he has some money, that's
right
to play with. You see what happens, but still. It wasn't the money guys necessarily that were who led the Blue Jays offense. It was a bunch of guys who really hadn't heard of, guys, kind of journeyman guys who got the chance, put the ball in play, tough outs, and so good for him.
I know it. Yeah. I really like it. I liked that team more than I found myself rooting for the Blue Jays. Of course, we all remember I was rooting against the Dodgers because I predicted boldly last spring that they would not win the World Series. So I was definitely rooting against them. But honestly, found myself rooting for that band of kind of misfits and youngsters and Yasevich coming up out of nowhere and pitched his first major league game in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, they were easy to root for. So anyway, that's good for them. Good for the Blue Jays. Aroldis Chapman has just been all over the place working out. I saw him in a gym, but look at this. Is he working on baseball activities? Oh no, it's mop. That's a mop act. What is that? What is he throwing? A mop, Jeff?
Good Lord.
Look at this thing in the driveway. It's a mop. Maybe that's the way he cleans the driveway.
Kind of a sock drill type of thing, but with more heavy dutier than that.
Yeah, he's got some sort
That's
of
pretty
thing.
cool.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
So, we talked the other day about him possibly pitching for Great Britain in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Sebastian Walcott's also eligible to pitch for Great Britain.
Is he really?
He is. So, I brought that up the other day, and I don't think the Rangers quite know who all is going to be participating, but he might be.
Wow.
I don't know that for sure.
Cool.
Don't say. I'm saying he's in the WBC.
Sebastian's from the Bahamas, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if he's on the preliminary roster, but he would be eligible to play for Great Britain in the World Baseball Classic.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Old prediction time from Rangers fan
Alex.
Alex, yeah. Dodgers, he says, will not win. Oh, yeah, the 2026 World Series. Okay. I like that, Alex, and I may be joining. I'm not ready to make that prediction yet.
How'd that work out?
Not great, but that doesn't mean I won't do it again. I'll work without a net on you. You're darn right I will.
I saw BC. There he is. I was just waiting for BC to chime in. There we go. Attaboy, BC.
There you go. He's just laughing out loud at him. Speaking of the Dodgers, Yamamoto has been named one of Vogue's best dressed. Look at that. Looks like Captain Steubing, actually.
He looks like a Japanese pop star.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, and
not a Korean pop star.
But so it's not just
the difference.
It's not just in Japan. You see there on the list with him are the likes of Bad Bunny, Rihanna. I don't know who what is that? G Dragon is. But anyway, there's some pretty big names on that list of best dressed. And I will say this. That's a snappy-looking outfit, Cat.
And Captain Steubing.
And a little Captain Steubing.
And Isaac. Yeah, Isaac, your bartender. Yeah.
Isaac, the bartender. Looks a little bit like he could work on the Love Boat. But anyway, Cat's laughing. You don't even know what the Love Boat is over there.
Love Boat.
Yeah. But anyway, so Yamamoto, he's not scared, man. He's out there, and we need to find out. I just saw one where he and Darvish went to that same sushi restaurant, it appears, and I assume it's in L.A., not in Japan, but I'm not sure. The same little chef keeps getting his picture in there, and it was one time with Yamamoto and Shohei, and then another time with Yamamoto and Darvish, and that's pretty good advertising, although maybe it's not if nobody knows the name of the restaurant.
Well, there's a restaurant here called Mr. Max. It's changed ownership since the Darvish era, but all Japanese players would go to Mr. Max.
Is that right? Mr. Max.
It was in Irving in a strip mall. The Japanese writers took me and washed there once. I went there a couple times. It's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. It's like Japanese, like there's some bar food, and I mean there's some stuff. It's like I had shark fin,
right?
There. Yeah,
and they'll eat the fish eyes on you.
Oh boy!
And some of the Japanese.
Misty is asking if I have a Paul Hoynes story. Paul Hoynes won the BBWA Career Excellence Awards. He's been covering the Guardians. He's been covering that franchise since '81.
Wow!
He's 75. He is the just salt of the earth. Nice Midwestern man. I mean, he'd be a nice man if he was from California. But one thing he used to do frequently, at least once a series, because of his background, he would do a pig call.
Oh, like in the club, in the press box.
Yeah, and so we would all put in $1 before the game. What inning do you think Hoynesy is going to do the pig call? And so we'd be sitting there, working. And then all of a sudden, you'd hear the pig call, and whoever had top of the third would win. $12.
$12. Yeah, nice.
Anyway,
nice.
He's fantastic. Hoynesy it couldn't have happened to a better guy. It really couldn't have.
Fantastic. Well, that is wonderful. It's been a fun week. I hope you all have had as much fun as we have. We're back next week, and we're here every day next week at 1 o'clock right here in studio. Imagine we may have to work on getting a guest in here with us next week one day, too. We'll do that. Okay, that's next week. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you Monday for another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.